Hello again, class, and you will recognize for Module 1 video, I am wearing the exact same attire and appear in the exact same fashion as I must have for the introductory video, as I know I did for the introductory video because I just finished shooting it about 2 minutes ago. But Module 1 follows very closely on the heels of the introductory module, so I thought I would shoot these first two right on top of one another. For Module 1, we are going to be jumping right in, so to speak, to a discussion of craft. And this discussion is not meant to build up an understanding that is like a rubric, that is stiff. It is more meant to develop a understanding that is dynamic of craft, because craft is something that we more talk about and define as we are talking about it than we do have it in a box, pull it out, and then apply it to a piece of fiction in order to understand the decisions that went into making that piece. Craft is something that a lot of people have developed different ways of talking about, different structures, different lenses for recognizing different structures in craft. There is, of course, the ascending fiction. I might be going in the wrong direction, but the ascending fiction, ascending action, that reaches the climax. So you have two brothers who are in love with the same woman, and they fall out with one another. They join rival gangs. The gangs get into a gang battle, and it gets more and more violent until the climax when the brothers find out that neither of them really like the girl, and they get beers together and make up, and everything's fine. After the climax being where the brothers beat the crap out of one another, perhaps. So that is a very classic way of looking at story structure, but it's not the only way of looking at story structure. And in fact, while below me you will find lots of different ways, or several different ways of looking at a story, I make a note below those to remind myself and you that a lot of these ways may in fact be stupid. Stories are alive and stories are important, and we tell stories because they cannot be replaced by these structures. If a story can be replaced, if a 2,500 word story could be replaced adequately by a 110 word description of what makes that story work, then we would just write 110 word descriptions. There's a reason that stories work or do not work, and that is the basis of what I would like to develop with you over the course of this module. An understanding between us about what works and doesn't work, a readiness for you to tell a classmate in a very appropriate manner that you believe a piece of his or her story is not working, and the ability to say why. That is as much opinion as it is an observation that you make based on some larger understanding of objective measures of story structure as it is defined by Kurt Vonnegut below, or whomever. It's as much a personal response, but the ability to decide why something works and why something doesn't, and describe why and think about it. That's going to turn you into a better writer as well as a better reader, and that's where the term reading like a writer comes from, because when you look at your own feelings regarding another person's work, when you examine them, then you are liable to describe them more efficiently, more effectively, and learn from them as well. We learn from workshopping other people's work because it makes us more cognizant of what we see as working and what we see as not working. So these lenses, these different structures, these different theories about what makes a story work and what doesn't, and what makes a story not work, that I kind of indicate below, those are building blocks for yourself. And they are really important. if you're looking for a reason why something might not work, maybe it doesn't have enough tension. Maybe it sits flat over the course of the whole story. These are large things that we can recognize when we hold up a piece next to the different structures that we see below, and perhaps a lacking is indicated clearly. But these are things that we incorporate into our own understanding of craft and our own taste for what works and does not work. And so that is something that we are going to develop over the course of this module by having discussions about what works and doesn't work. That is a term even that I would like to hear you use, perhaps, working and not working, because it's very honest and to the point, and it's not a euphemism that is trying to be kind. I don't mean for of course I want us to always be respectful of one another, and even when you criticize someone's piece, you should always start by saying what you like about it. Those are nice things to do. But I don't mean working and not working as a stand-in for, excellent and crap. I'm not trying to make us polite here. Excellent and crap teach us nothing. We don't learn from just sort of, liking something or not liking something. We learn by breaking the piece down into elements which we see as functioning well or not functioning the way that they need to. And so that is where I would like to aim our discussion going forward into the rest of the class, which again we will develop here in Module 2. Wow, I'm very long-winded today. These are probably the longest videos I've ever made for this online course, which I've taught for a couple years now. So I hope that you have stuck with me throughout this this spiel that I've made. But I think that I'd like to indicate more clearly than I have in the past that I would like us to be talking about what is and is not functioning well in regards to what the piece needs to be, because we can kid ourselves about our own control over our art. But really, honestly, very early on in the creation process, this is something that I hope you guys will recognize. The piece ceases to belong to us as the conceiver of the piece. It begins to take on its own form, and workshopping, having new eyes on what we've done, can really help us to recognize what the piece needs apart from what we envisioned for it. And what we envision for our own work can be kind of distracting in that regard. So a lot of things to think about, perhaps too much. But I hope that we have some pretty great discussions. Below I have a little bit of a task for you to find a story that doesn't fit one of the structures that we talk about below, and some tasks connected to that. I would like to see a real discussion come out of this exercise. So when people ask questions, I want to see answers to those questions, and I want to see you guys asking questions of me and of your classmates as well. So a discussion is the primary purpose of that exercise, and I hope to see one, a very interesting one, develop. So thank you, and I hope you guys have a great day.